Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Dam, and you are watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies. And today, I'm going to give you my thoughts on Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, just having come from a screening, I gotta say, it's fantastic. No spoilers on this review. I'm going to tell you some things I liked and didn't like without being too specific. And then I'm going to give you a big heads up, and I'm going to go into a couple of spoilers for people that have seen the movie. I gotta say, I think that this one, Fallout, if it's not my favorite, it's second to Mission Impossible 4, and Mission Impossible 4 is a little bit sillier, but it's more fun, I think, whereas this one's a little bit grittier. It's a little bit more intense. It's a little bit more nail-biting, which is a great thing. I mean, it really is great. One of the fantastic things about the Mission Impossible franchise is that Tom Cruise is actually doing all of the stuff that you're seeing him do. Now, yes, there are special effects. Yes, there are wires. But when he's jumping out of a window, he's jumping and landing. It's not like Captain America's jumping out and then doing a superhero landing and you know he's going to be fine. When Tom Cruise is getting ready to jump out of a window, he pauses. He's not sure if he's going to make it. And he lands hard and it hurts. It hurts so bad that he actually snapped his ankle while filming the movie. There is a scene where he jumps from one rooftop to another where he barely makes it. And while filming, he snapped his ankle badly. And just that it adds to the movie. It only makes it better. Not that he got hurt, but that he could get hurt. When he's dangling from a helicopter and you see the ground racing below him, Tom Cruise is actually on the outside of a helicopter, and that's the real ground. It's not a green screen. It's not been superimposed. He's not 6 inches off the ground. He's way off the ground, and he is in danger. And I gotta say, it really makes a difference to me. Man, this is really one of the best PG-13 action movies I've ever seen. And the reason I had that caveat is because PG-13 action movies are always neutered. Action movies rely heavily on violence. That's mostly what you're seeing. You're seeing fighting, you're seeing you're seeing shootouts, you're seeing gun violence, you're seeing car chases where there's injury, bodily harm, falls where there's injuries. And because it's PG-13, they don't really show breaks, they don't really show blood, they don't show bullet holes. It's just not as visceral as it is when it's rated R. However, this one had more blood than I'm accustomed to seeing in a PG-13 movie, and it surprised me. I mean, I was really surprised when I saw a puddle of blood for the first time in this movie. Now, it's not overly bloody. You don't have to worry too much about taking your kids to see it, but I was surprised nevertheless. And I also, another thought I had early on in the movie is it does feel, not derivative, but it feels slightly inspired by John Wick. It's got some elements where the action is just really kind of bone-crushing, and there's some other looks and feels. Not saying they're ripping off John Wick, but John Wick has definitely influenced this genre moving forward, and you could get a little bit of flavor of it in this movie in a good way. The gunfire in this movie really stood out to me, and that is a pet peeve I always have, and not because I'm a gun nut and things have to be technically, exact. It's because gunfire, real gunfire, if you've ever fired a weapon, you know it's extremely loud. I mean, it can damage your hearing if you don't have ear protection. It's very loud. Just a regular handgun, a 9mm, which is what they're usually shooting in these movies, is extremely loud. And in movies, it tends to just kind of be pop, 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 pop. The gunfire in this movie was very loud, similar to John Wick, other movies like that. They've kind of started figuring that out in movies. This has got to be maybe the first PG-13 movie that had really sort of like ear-shattering gunfire in it. The engine noises are nice and loud. Now, I did see this in IMAX, and I highly recommend watching this in IMAX while you still can. It's not going to be in IMAX long because there's going to be another movie in IMAX in a week or two. So go see it opening weekend, opening week. See it as early as you can, because it won't stay in IMAX. Not enough Rebecca Ferguson. I really liked her in the last one, and it set it up in a way where I was looking forward to seeing her more. I don't know, I really like her character a lot and wanted to see more of her. I was a little disappointed about how little of her there was in this movie. On the opposite side, there's a lot more Ving Rhames in this movie than there has been in maybe any other Mission Impossible movie, except maybe the first one. And speaking of Ving Rhames, there's not only more screen time, there's more of Ving Rhames than I've ever seen. He looks like he's been going back for thirds since the last Mission Impossible movie, so I hope everything's all right with him. I like him. I want him to kind of hang around, and he was good in the movie, but he did not look good. I thought the villain was okay, but one thing that always is the case with Mission Impossible movies is the setup is very simple. This covert... Whiskey's getting me. This covert, agency has a weapon of mass destruction, and they're going to use it unless we stop them. That's it. Never have I thought that's a bad thing, but I did realize when watching this one, there's so many little nuances and intricacies throughout the storytelling that if they made it more complex of a setup from the get-go, you wouldn't be able to follow it because you're too busy trying to follow, okay, this person has this and this person's double-crossing there and this person needs that in order to get this. So you kind of need that basic setup from the beginning, otherwise it's just going to be a muddy mess. So it does make sense to me that they do that. Another thing I'll say is this is the first one rather, to be directed by the same director as the previous. They've all had different directors. Christopher McQuarrie did the last one. He did this one as well. He wrote it as well. If you're a little bit unsure about Mission Impossible, you think it might be a little bit beneath you, if you're a fan of the movie Way of the Gun, which I've talked about on this channel before, I know a lot of you are fans of that movie, Chris McQuarrie did that movie. That was one of his first movies, and he kind of, because that movie got forgotten about and just didn't really get picked up right away, so did he. He basically didn't do movies for a while. He's done these two, and I think he's done a great job. But I gotta say, I'll go ahead and rate this one a full swig. Yeah, it's a full swig. And now for some brief spoilers for people that have seen the movie. But first, if you like content like this, definitely click the subscribe button or click that like button on this one. I really need your likes on this one because this is the first time I've gone on a Thursday night, watched the movie, come home, given you a review. If I get enough likes on this one, I will continue to do this, maybe even on a weekly basis. It is a strain on family life, but if the likes are there, I'll do it. So if you've seen it, I gotta say, the helicopter sequence was amazing on multiple levels. One, Tom Cruise dangling from that rope is incredible, and he's really doing it. And then when he fell, I almost shit my pants. And then just the concept of, okay, I'm in this helicopter, the MacGuffin is in that helicopter, how am I going to get from here to here? I was trying to think of scenarios the entire time and could not come up with anything. And obviously, at the end, it was the only logical solution is that they just crash into each other. But I thought that whole helicopter sequence was great. The defusing a bomb, it was on par with some of the best bomb defusing scenes ever, but it's a bomb defusing scene. When they did the mask thing and they swapped the bad guy for Simon Pegg, that one I saw coming a long way away. If you did, give me a little wink emoji in the comments below, but don't spoil it for anybody because not everybody's going to be paying that close attention to it, but I saw that coming. They maybe set it up a little bit too well with establishing the shot of the camera multiple times. I also saw Henry Cavill. I saw him as being the bad guy really early on, so much so that I thought it was going to be revealed in the bathroom scene, and then when it wasn't, I was like, maybe not, but I still was not surprised at all when he was revealed as a bad guy. But that said, I thought he played a good bad guy. He is very robotic. As Superman, he's very robotic. Here, he's very robotic in a different way. He was a different character, but he's very stiff. But he plays that well. If that's all he can do, I don't really mind. He's never going to be one of my favorite actors, but I did like him here. He's so big from the Superman steroids he was taking. he's very imposing, you know, and he was way bigger than Tom Cruise in this movie, so I thought he made a good bad guy. I thought that was good. The final sequence, you know, the helicopter hanging from that hook, okay. I mean, how many times have we seen the hero and the bad guy hanging off of a cliff? It wasn't the most inspired way to wrap up the movie, but I enjoyed everything else so much, I easily forgave it. The one thing I was really missing is, you know, in the first Mission Impossible, there's that scene, that just tense, quiet scene where he dangles into the room. It's, you know, the most famous scene from that movie. And then they did something similar in the second one. I believe they did in the third, where they had this, it's all action, the whole movie, but they have one sequence reserved for like quiet tension. But they didn't do that at all in this one. I kind of missed it. That said, I loved it. If you did, let me know in the comments below. If you hated it, let me know in the comments. I will read them. But I will keep making content like this as long as you keep watching it. But thanks for watching this episode, and you will see me next time.